So welcome everybody to this latest video 162 Maths. In this video we'll be continuing with functions with a focus on composite functions. Now, as well as inputting values into a function, we can also input other function or functions into a function, and this is known as a composite function. A lot of functions there. Now if we just take the example of f of x equals 2x plus 3 and we want to input x plus 5, so this is our original function. And this is our input function. So if I then just go about drawing my function machine, so for f of x, I'm multiplying by 2, then I'm adding 3, and just excuse those functions. And so here I've got x. Now my input is x plus 5. I'm just going to put that in brackets. So the first thing I'm going to do is double that. So if I double all of that, what do I get? Well, I'm going to get 2x plus 10. Then I head towards this second function, or this second sort of operation that I've got to do, and I've got to add 3 to it. So then here, what I'm going to end up with is 2x, and then 10 plus 3, which is 13. Now, what I could have done is basically with f of x equals 2x plus 3, is I could then swap this with the x. And so what I'd end up with is 2 and then x plus 5 plus 3. And then if I expand the brackets, I get 2x plus 10 plus 3, in which I get 2x plus 13. And as you can see, that is exactly the same as that. So you can see that doing it both ways gets you the same answers. So let's have a look at some composite functions. So here we've got a function of f of x equals 3x plus d, and we've got another function of g of x equals x squared. And what this question is asking us to do is to find the function fg of x. Now, in terms of this, the order in which things are written is really, really important. So here, what you want to do, your starting function is always the closest to the bracket. So that's what you're substituting in. So here what I'm going to do is we're going to see, well, which function am I substituting to what? Well, I'm going to substitute the g function into f. So here, looking at a, now there's no really formal way of doing this apart from taking one letter. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to treat this as one single letter. So here I've got f, and then I've got g of x, which is x squared. And then what I'm then going to do is substitute x squared into wherever I see an x in f. So what that then produces is, so if I swap this and replace it with this in this function, then what I end up with, and it's always important to use brackets, is 3x squared plus 2, and then just simply expand out the bracket, so I get 3x squared plus 2, and there is my final answer. With b, so here what we're doing is we're using f of x. So here I've got g, and I'm going to use the function of 3x plus 2. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to substitute 3x plus 2 wherever I see an x in the function of g of x. So what this then becomes is gf of x. That then becomes the bracket, which is 3x plus 2 squared. And then if I then go on to expand that, I get 6, no I don't, I get 9 x squared plus, and it's going to be 12x plus 4, and there is my final answer. Then for c, so this is where I'm substituting the function of f into the function of f. So here if I just put brackets around this, then for c what I've got is I've got f, and then if I substitute the function of f, that's 3x plus 2. And then again, what I'm going to do is wherever I see, where I've got an x, I'm going to swap that with whatever's in this bracket here. So in this bracket, I've got 3 lots of the bracket, which is 3x plus 2 plus 2. Then expand the brackets, so I get 9x plus 6 plus 2, which gives me 9x plus 8. And then finally, for d, well, there's a couple of ways in which I can do this when you're substituting values in. So here what we want to do is substitute, well, one way of doing it is substitute x equals 3 into f of x, and then sub the answer into g of x. So one way of doing that is doing it that way. Another way is to actually work out what g of x is and then substitute 3 in. So if I do the substitution way, so for d, I've got f of 3 equals, and it's going to be 3 lots of 3 plus 2, which is 11. And then I'm going to substitute 11 into g of x, because that's my second letter, in which I've got 11 squared, which is 121. Now, another way of doing it is to work out what the function of g of f actually is going to be, which I've already worked out in b. So using my answer in b, g f of x equals, and it's 9x squared plus 12x plus 4. So then if I then substitute 3 into that function, I end up with 9 times 3 squared plus 12 times 3 plus 4, which gives me 9 times 9, which is 81, plus 36 plus 4, which gives me an answer of 121, which, as you can see, gives me the same answer. Now, depending on if you had got this question in an exam, if a question just asked you for this, then you could use either or method, but typically what they would do is they would ask you to find the function first, and then you would then use that formula, just like we did with b, to substitute 3 into that, and you'd get your final answer. So now let's have a look at some exam style questions. So in this question it says for all values of x, f of x equals x squared plus 3 and g of x equals 2x minus 1. And in question A, it's just asking us to substitute 2 into this composite function and work it out. Now for this, it's not asking us to work out algebraically what f of g is going to be. So what I can do is I can substitute x equals 2 into my first function and then substitute the answer into my second function. So looking at this particular question, as g is the closest to the bracket, g of x is first, and then f of x is second. So here with A, I'm substituting, working out what g of 2 is, because g is the one closest to the brackets. So here I've got 2 times 2, take away 1, which is 3. And then what I'm going to do is I'm then going to substitute 3, the answer, into this function. So I've got 3 squared plus 3, giving me a final answer of f g of, I don't know why I've put the g in brackets, so let me just get rid of that quickly, of 2 equals, and it's going to equal 9 plus 3, which is 12. Then with B, how this is different is I'm now going to go for f of x is first and g of x is second. So with B, what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute 2 into f first. So f2 is going to be 2 squared plus 3, which is 4 plus 3, which is 7. And then I'm going to substitute 7 into g of x. So I've got 2 times 7. I don't know why that 2 is a little bit dodged, so let me just correct that. So 2 times 7, take away 1, which gives me an answer of 13. So g f of 2 equals 13. So now let's have a look at our second example. So the second question says for all values of x, and again we've got function of x, function of f, and a function of g, all in terms of x. And this question is asking us to work out what fg of x is, giving our answer in this form here. So here what I've got to do is actually work out the sort of mega formula function when I'm combining these two. Now which one am I going for first? Well, I'm going for g first. So here what I've got is I've got f, and I'm going to use the function of g, which is 10x squared plus 5. Now wherever I can see an x in f, which is at the top, I'm going to replace it with what's in the bracket. So what this then becomes is fg of x is going to equal this bracket, which is 10x squared plus 5, divided by 5 plus 3. Now what I can then do is simplify all of this, because I can simplify by dividing by 5. And so what I'm left with is 2x squared plus 1 plus 3. And if I simplify that further, I get 2x squared plus 4. And again, is it written in that form? Yes, it is, where a equals 2 and b equals 4. Then looking at question 3, it says that for all values of x, f of x equals x squared plus 3x, g of x equals x minus 4. And the question is asking us to show that fg of x equals x squared minus 5x plus 4. So again, what we need to do first is forget that we see this. We're just going to go straight for finding what this is. So again, g of x appears first. So I'm going to write f, and I'm just going to copy what g of x is. So what I'm going to do is wherever I see an x in f of x, I'm going to swap it with x minus 4. So what this then becomes is fg, and again, addicted to writing things in brackets, fg of x is going to equal, it's going to be x minus 4 squared plus 3 lots of x minus 4. And if I expand all of this out, well, x minus 4 is going to be x squared minus 8x plus 16. So here I've got x squared minus 8x plus 16 plus 3x minus 12. And again, if I simplify all of that, what do I end up with? Well, I'm going to end up with this, which is exactly what they wanted me to show. Then looking at question 4, it says for all values of x, f of x equals 2x squared and g of x equals x plus 1. Now for this it says solve fg of x equals gf of x. So what I need to do first is first of all find fg of x and gf of x. So looking at fg of x is where I'm substituting, well, g goes first, so it's f of g of x, which is x plus 1. So I'm going to substitute this wherever I see an x in f. So then fg of x is going to equal 2 lots of x plus 1 squared, which is 2 lots of x plus 1, which is 2 lots of x squared plus 2x plus 1, which equals 2x squared plus 4x plus 2. I'm just going to put a little box around that. Then moving on to gf of x. Well, gf of x is where I've got g and I've got f of x. I'm going to substitute wherever I've got an x in g of x, I'm going to swap it with what's in this bracket. So gf of x is going to equal 2x squared plus 1. And that has got no brackets. So now what I need to do is make those two things equal to each other. So here I've got 2x squared plus 4x plus 2. And that equals the green box, which is 2x squared plus 1. Now, as you can see, both sides have got 2x squared, so I can cancel them down. So I've got 4x plus 2 equals 1. 4x equals minus 1. And so x equals minus a quarter. Then looking at question 5, so it says f of x equals 2x plus c, g of x equals cx plus 7, fg of x equals 4x plus d, c and d are constants, work out the value of d. So looking at this, what I want to do first is first of all work out what gf of x is. So fg of x is what I'm going to work out. So here I've got g first, so that's f of cx plus 7. So what I'm going to do is in f, I'm going to swap that x with what's in this bracket. So what I've got then is fg of x is going to equal 2 lots of cx plus 7 plus c. Now if I simplify all of that, I get 2cx plus 14 plus c. And that all equals this. So 4x plus d equals 2cx plus 14 plus c. Now looking at this and comparing the coefficients, that 4 must equal 2c. So 4 equals 2c, so then c equals 2. And looking at the constants, well, plus d must equal this. Well, if I know that c equals 2, I get d equals 14 plus 2. So d equals 16, and there is my final answer. Now we'll put some example worksheet in the description below for you to practice all of these along with your answers, so you can check to make sure that you are getting these types of questions correct.